Hey, gang, welcome back to another episode of Talking eBay, where we talk everything eBay to give you some information and some knowledge to help you grow on your journey. So, I just want to give you some quick updates here on what's going on with me. I've been doing eBay since for 26 years now and actually enjoying it, but I had a little issue last week, and I want to just talk about that with you. And that's what this outlet's about. And hopefully, I can help you and give you some information for yourself. So I'm not sure if you're experiencing this, but once in a while you do get a return and a return request. And sometimes that's kind of frustrating as I get it as a seller. So you say to yourself, well, I'm doing all this work and I'm selling all this stuff and stuff comes back. And that's just part of it. And even if you don't have a return, people could just say it's not as described. So what does that mean to you? It's not as described basically means it's not what you said it was. And that can happen a lot, or it can happen and you really did describe everything correctly, and they still say that, and you're frustrated, and eBay will not help you with that. And like I said, I've been loyal for eBay for 26 years. I have concierge. I talk to the USA. I speak to managers all the time, and I had an issue last week. And I'm going to share this with you. So a customer sends in a request. Doesn't even send it. Just says item not described. Opens up a case basically. Okay, this is a item as not described case. I do have a return policy on my channel on my on my eBay store. 60 days. I don't care. I do 60 days, and if you're not doing 60 days, you should be doing 60 days because the longer you, if you give a higher return date, higher return policy, you get boosted up in the search results. Unfortunately, eBay is becoming more of an algorithm platform more than a seller's platform. I've been noticing that myself, and that's kind of disheartening a little bit to me. So you sell a lot, and you think, oh, I'm going to put my listing on, and I'm going to have a sale. Not necessarily always that way. You kind of have to, keep listing and keep selling to get the, I guess, promotion. I'm not really sure what's going on with the whole thing, but that's what's happening. So had an issue, and the customer opened up a case, and it was exactly as described. Everything was there. I make videos. I put photos on. I describe everything to the T. I'll tell you exactly what it is. And this guy just blatantly just says he lied, and as simple as that. And he's returning something totally different than I sold him. I take pictures of serial numbers. If you don't take pictures of serial numbers, you should. Not that it matters anymore, because really doesn't, even the AZ store, eBay, all these different platforms, they're really customer hungry. So they really focus on the customer, and that's okay. But in the same respect, you kind of feel like, you kind of left out, but, and that's how I felt, but it is part of business. So I had this conversation with eBay, and they said to me, unfortunately, you have to take it back. I said, well, it's a clear-cut case that they're returning something different. He actually took a photo of a different product with a different serial number and sending it back. Oh, it's not what it is. Took photos of it, this guy, and then put it on the eBay, and eBay looked at it and says, yeah, I can see that, but you still have to take it back. I said, yeah, but the evidence is clear cut. I said, this is exactly what happened, and this is an issue, and how can you say that? Well, I'm sorry, sir, this is how it works. I said, let me talk to a supervisor. So right to supervisor, again, supervisor, I have a concierge service. They thank me for my service, which is great. And I'm not knocking eBay. Listen, they're a business too, and they're looking to make money. But in the past, they've always backed up the seller as well as the buyer. So I talked to the supervisor. I pleaded my case once more, and it's okay to do that. Maybe I'll call back again, because a lot of times you might get somebody different that sympathizes with you. It maybe has more power to change things. So I talked to the supervisor. I pled my case again. Here's an item. You can see the serial number is totally different than what I took a picture of. They're sending back a different one. And basically, after a 15-minute conversation debating the problem, I got nowhere. And I was very frustrated about that. I'm saying to myself, okay. She goes, this is the cost of doing business. And sometimes you have to take a loss. I said, yes, I do understand that. I said, but the difference is there's a loss and there's fraudulent. And that's not really a loss, that's stealing. And she just didn't understand what I was trying to say. And I went on, and I pled my case. I did not yell. I did not scream. I gave facts, information, and presentation. And basically I said, look at the photos, look at the image. And she just kissed. And she basically was either following a script or basically didn't give a crap. Now, I don't really know. I've never had these issues before with eBay. I don't have a lot of those issues, honestly, because most people who buy on eBay are pretty good buyers. And like anything else, you'll get a few bad actors, as they say, in the system. And so I guess that was one of the cases. So fine. So she said, I said, as a seller, you have a option to do a partial refund. You can report that buyer. And she says, do those things, which I'm going to do. Didn't get it back yet. So when I get it back, I'll confirm exactly what I'm thinking it is. I'll take photos, I'll report the buyer, and I'll just give them a restocking fee. Basically, I'm going to restock as much as I can, which is up to 50%. So if you're not sure what that means, is that if you sell something on eBay and you get it back in either different condition, not as it's totally different, or even if they swap it out, which does happen, it just happens. You can report that buyer and then put a restocking, and put a 50% up to 50% restocking fee. But the only problem with that, it goes into a review process, and it can take up to 6 months to get your money, which is very, again, more frustration, right? So you have evidence, you have proof. They make you do they don't make you do videos, but they help. It's a help to do videos, because certain things can get broken during shipping. I get that. Uh, so, so it's very frustrating for me. So if this is happening to you, let me know. Actually, go to my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel as well, that's Talking eBay. It's a new channel, and it gives you some information to help you to sell on eBay. And listen, all these platforms have the same issues. I don't care if you're selling on A to Z, if you sell it on Bakari, if you sell it on Whatnot. I don't really care. Well, Whatnot too as well. They all kind of they have a policy in place. But sometimes policies are abused, and sometimes policies are followed, and sometimes policies no one gives a crap, right? So with this situation here, the evidence was clear, everything was cut and dry, and they just didn't care, and that's okay. I'm okay with that because it's part of doing business. I get it. It's not a big deal, but the problem is I just want to explain to you these things do happen, so you can't get frustrated and quit, right? So that's what this pep talks about. Do not quit. It does happen. Yes, it is cost of doing business. That's just how it goes. So don't be frustrated with all that. It is aggravation. I get it. But at the end of the day, you are still selling on eBay. I still sell. I sold 6 more products this weekend. It's okay. That'll come back. I'll do what I have to do with it, and I'll report the person, and I'll put the restocking fee in. But the frustration part was that eBay did not listen to the case. Now, if something is really clear cut like that, either eBay is not giving them the power to do that. I spoke to a supervisor, so she says she was very clear, very very intelligent. She knew exactly what she was doing. It was the USA. It was 100%, and she just said, no, this is our policy. So basically, she didn't want to. And sometimes they usually in the past would close a case. And another thing she said to me, which I found quite aggravating, is that, oh, we've given you some courtesies in the background in the past. I said, courtesies? What do you mean by a courtesy? If something is wrong, that's not a courtesy. That's not a courtesy. A courtesy is if you do something wrong and they help you out. That would be a courtesy. In the past, I've had other people do this, and they did close out cases. Because it does happen. If you sell hundreds of items or thousands of items, you're going to have this. I don't care who you are, what you are. Everybody does it. And that's kind of frustrating too. So as an eBay seller, you can come across these different things. So offer returns. It doesn't matter if you say, I'm going to sell a no returns. You have to, because they can still do the same thing. And now you're not gaining anything in the algorithm. So definitely put the returns in. I put 60 days in. Nobody ever returns something in the 31st day. It doesn't happen. They're going to do it. They're going to do it within a week. This is usually the MO for these people who do that. They'll keep it for 2-3 days, or right away, or a week. If it's right away, I always found personally, if they called me or emailed me right away with a question, something's wrong. I had this happen a couple of weeks ago. I sold a podcast microphone, a nice microphone, a really nice microphone, right? Yeti. I tested it, it worked perfectly, and so on. So the guy got the microphone, and the next day doesn't work. I said, "What do you mean it doesn't work? I tested it here. What are you doing? What are you doing with it?" I try to communicate with them. I try to help them out. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I said, okay, well, you're using it in a high-end gaming system with audio settings maybe a little bit too high. And he finally, after about a week, he tweaked it and realized that something it was on his end. He was processing it too high, the frequency was too high, things like that, and he basically tweaked it down, and it worked perfectly. So you can come across customers who are just having some trouble and issues, and try to help them if you know how. Then that's just one good way of doing that, and most of the time that is the case. Another case a few months back, the guy bought a camera, and again, make a video. It comes with the flash. This whole camera was a bundle, right? It came with the flash, the battery, everything, power supply, everything. I bought extra stuff. I put it together, make it really nice. He got it. Within 2 weeks later, I said, "Oh, it doesn't work." I said, "All right, whatever, doesn't work." Okay, so maybe something happened to it because it is technology, and some things do happen. So he sends it back, and half the stuff is missing. And he sends a letter. This is all right. Listen to this one. He sends a letter saying, "I'm sorry. I lost some of the other items. I threw in some other things to make up the difference." No lie. Okay, he sent a letter saying this. Now, who does that? Okay, so now I have a letter with evidence. I have the proof. Again, eBay does nothing to help me. I said, well, I reported the guy too, and they still didn't, and they closed the case, and I didn't get my money back. I was so aggravated, and I had proof. I had a letter, and they just didn't care. So take it with a grain of salt. It's good and bad, and most of the time, eBay is really good. Okay, I mean, I'm not gonna lie; they've been pretty good to sellers like us for the last 26 years. They're very generous. They give us stuff. They have conferences. They educate us, and they help us become entrepreneurs. And that's really what it's about. So take the bits and pieces of it and learn from that. But when I got that thing back, I'm saying, well, it's missing, and the power supply was different. It was broken. Yeah, that of course it doesn't work. It's dead. I saved them two batteries to send one back. I sent it with the case. There was no case. At least the camera came back. So basically, I took the camera, I checked it again, which it was working. The guy didn't know how to use it. Something was wrong. I don't know. But the camera still worked. So I bought another power supply and I repackaged it, and I'm going to resell it without the case because he obviously took the case and he admitted it. Oh, he probably bought multiple things and just mixed them all up and just couldn't figure it out. And sometimes that does happen. People just don't know technology, and that's okay. So that's what happens. So things do happen when you're selling on eBay. So don't be frustrated, don't be angry, and don't get mad. Just deal with it as best you can. Because as an entrepreneur and as a business person, this is what happens to you, and it doesn't matter where you are. This is why I love selling on direct with either Facebook or Craigslist. I had just had a drop off a couple days ago. It was a laser leveler that I had, and I had it on for $100 on eBay, and I put it on Facebook and Instagram. Well, not Instagram, Facebook and Craigslist. And within 2 days, I had someone message me on Saturday, actually, this past Saturday, and said, "I'll take this. I'll give you $100 right now." I said, "You got a deal. $100. It's cash. It's delivered. There's never a return. There's never a complaint because I say it is what it is." He looks at it when he picks it up, so he knows what he's getting. So it's a super clean deal. And so I love those things. I always meet them in a public place. I always meet them at the same locations. I say over here, always during the day, not at night. So there's a lot of different things when you're selling direct to people, either Facebook or Craigslist, to just be careful of. But I've been doing it for maybe 6 or 7, 8 years now. I never had an issue because I'm very careful. And most of the time, people, you can see, look at their profile, where they are. You can kind of do the back work and see what's going on. So that's what that. All right. So definitely, if you don't follow me, I have a YouTube channel called Talking eBay. It has a lot of information in there, how to sell and how to list, and dealing with eBay and an ongoing basis and things like that. So definitely follow me there. Definitely don't forget to subscribe to that channel. It does help me. It helps the community out. So if you're out selling, if you're learning, and if you're starting out on eBay journey, I hope you enjoy this podcast. Definitely follow this podcast. I have some other ones on here as well. Listen to them all. They're really great, good information. I try to give you the good and the bad, right? Now you heard the bad today, right? It is what it is. It's not always sunshines and rainbows, right? It's just not. It just can't be. But for the most part, it's been pretty good. It's been a pretty good journey, so I can't complain all over these years. I mean, you'll get packages that get lost and things happen, and that's just the way it goes. And you can't get frustrated with that. You just have to deal with it on a day-to-day basis and keep selling and keep listing. So like I said, fourth quarter's coming, guys. Keep listing. It's time to put everything on and go crazy. Maybe not so much sourcing, but now it's time to take all that stuff and start listing it. And like I always say, if you don't list it, you can't sell it. And I know a lot of people who have a love to shop and love to buy, but they don't list. And that's not cool. You've got to list the stuff. It's never going to sell. It's just going to sit there. And you're going to say to yourself, "Oh, this eBay thing's not working." No, you have to make it work. It is a process. You have to put the time in and the energy to get out the money or the return, right? That's what you're doing. You're trading time for money. Your time is money. And hopefully you're selling the right products and pricing them correctly. And that's what you're going to learn on my channel, how to price things, using therapy, learning how to list things like that. So that's what my channel is all about. But this podcast is really more of to help you, is my voice to vent out to you and to help you so you're not alone. This is something that happens to all of us as entrepreneurs. You'll have highs and you'll have lows. You'll want to quit, and you'll want to start up and go crazy. So give yourself that balance right in the middle. That's what I'm talking about. So you can constantly, like right now, I'm working on a camera. So I'm listing a camera, but I said, I want to make a podcast this morning. So I did it this morning. I'm doing it right now. And I just want to bring you some value. I want to bring you some education, and I want to bring you some information. And that's what this is all about. So definitely follow this podcast. on Talking eBay. All right, guys, I don't make this too long. It's like a 15-minute segment, and just stay tuned for more coming up. 2024 is going to be a great year. I can also see the stores starting to pick up. I don't know if you noticed it this year. The stores are already starting to go crazy. This is 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, and the crowds are out there. So people are still buying. People are spending. People are buying. So it's time for you to list, because that's what I'm telling you right now. You're going to have a big push from Thanksgiving to Christmas, and it's going to be a huge push. And even in January, if you're not selling, January is a big month too. People are home. Everybody's indoors pretty much, most of the country. And people have money because they got gift cards, they got cash or whatever, and they want to buy stuff. So January is a huge month as well. So not just Christmas. You'll see a slowdown right before Christmas because the shipping time is an issue. But after that, you'll see a week after that, it'll start ramping right back up again. And that's been traditional for the last, I don't know how many years, forever, since I've been selling. So you'll see that as well. All right, guys, I appreciate it as always. And don't forget to follow this podcast. And don't forget my channel, Talking eBay on YouTube. Thank you. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks and I'm going to make another one. We'll keep talking. We'll keep having a conversation. Hope you're enjoying it. Please let me know. Have a great day.